Hi guys, I'm just making a quick little video to give you guys some reference to my surgery that I had. I had the Nuss procedure done here in South Africa at Waterfall City Hospital on the 29th of August. I'm currently sitting at around about just past 5 weeks. In 2 days time I'll be reaching 6 weeks. Let me just give you a little bit of feedback of some things that I've seen on the internet that people don't necessarily speak about in terms of the recovery as such. I did a lot of research while I was going through my recovery, and it helped quite a bit to just understand what to expect, what's coming up next, etc. But there's a lot of things that I saw that people didn't really touch base on. Therefore, I would just like to add some things. First of all, I woke up in ICU. I was in ICU for 1 day. It was a very horrible experience. I did have an epidural as well for 2 days. Therefore, I was in ICU for the first day. Really bad experience in ICU. You can't sleep. A lot of people have these live monitoring machines on them. Therefore, it beeps the whole time, and you're quite stiff when you wake up from the surgery. Not entirely painful or sore. I won't really say that I had any pain. Just very uncomfortable because you can feel the bars obviously immediately pushing a new position into your chest. Second of all, I was extremely hungry coming out of anesthetic. Therefore, I just grabbed whatever I could eat right next to me, and there was a couple of sweets. They do taste your blood sugar levels every 2 hours, and mine was standing around about 16. It should be around about 5. So I had a little bit of a scare there by eating too much sweets. So I definitely recommend don't doing that. I got out of the hospital bed on my first initial day, which was the next day. It was my physio came, she checked me out, we got out of the bed, we walked about 50 meters or so and came back. Very difficult getting out of the bed. Definitely feel a lot of popping sensations on the bars. This is the bars. You definitely feel a lot of popping sensations on your chest from the bars. This is the bars that initially actually rub against the cartilage from your chest. So I could say honestly from the first day that the bars were in, there was extremely a lot of popping feelings and these cracks within inside your body. They're not very sore, it's just extremely uncomfortable, and it grosses you quite a little bit out. They still do continue. It gets better over time. Currently I'm close to 6 weeks and it still does it. Not all the time, just in certain positions that it does it, but it's definitely still uncomfortable as such. I had no rib flaring as such. I am a personal trainer as well, so I've been training for many years as such, and therefore I had quite a good body structure. You'll see a lot of the guys that actually have the initial surgery, they're quite small, quite skinny as such, and therefore obviously you can see the rib flaring as well as you can see the bars pushing out on the sides. I do have a little bit of bulge on both sides, but it's not too bad compared to what I've seen other people's bars. They initially tell you that it's a 6-week recovery. Definitely don't agree with that. It's a very, very slow process as such, and if you don't have someone that's going to help you, it's going to be quite difficult. Until yesterday, I slept in the recliner. I managed to sleep in the bed yesterday for the first time for about an hour or two. I tried it again in the evening, and my shoulder was acting up. So I'm still in a recliner. I read a couple of things on some threads that people do sleep up to 2 months, which is 8 weeks in the recliner and such before they can actually sleep into a bed, flat in on their back. Let's get to week 1. Okay, so week 1 of the recovery, I was 3 days in hospital. I went in on a Wednesday and I came out on Saturday morning. So I was basically about 3.5 days as such. I could walk out the hospital, I was fine. Let me just say, on your third day in, your first and your second day initially, it's quite difficult in hospital. Very uncomfortable, you can't sleep, you don't know which position is comfortable. Obviously you have a catheter in as well, so you don't know what's comfortable. No position that you're seated in or lying in is comfortable, so something you just got to get used to as such. Around about my third day, they started testing oral medication on me. They wanted to see which medication works for me, obviously, so that I can go home and use that med. I had a lot of pain, switching over from the IV to actually the oral medication. Until they get the right balance and stuff. I was on oxycodone, quite bad medicine as well, very strong. It took a while for me to transition from IV to the orals. It was extremely painful. There was a phase of around about 5 hours where I had no pain meds because the IVs had to get out of my body. So the nurses said to me that they would kill me if they give me more meds. So that's quite the difficultest thing, is on the last day of hospital stay. Therefore, it gets a little bit easier. I walked out of hospital, got my pain medication, went home. Driving the car was fine. Just driving over speed bumps. Be slow, be cautious, they do hurt. Obviously, there's no sneezing, there's no laughing, there's no coughing. If this does come, what I feel that works is I grab a bottle of water and I drink as much as I can, as quick as I can. Therefore, it does help get rid of that sensation. The sneezing, I still can't sneeze. Almost 6 weeks later, still can't sneeze. Still very painful. It actually hurts on the sutures under the armpits. It's directly on the cut itself. When a sneeze does come, I just kind of take deep breaths and it goes away. So yeah, it's quite difficult. Now let's go to week 2. Okay, so week 1, I was at home. I slept a lot. I stayed a lot in the chair, didn't move too much. You also don't want people to visit you too much as well. It drains you a lot, especially the medicine and such. The one moment you'll be awake, the next moment you'll be sleeping. So it's quite difficult, and you really don't want to speak too much. It's really difficult. Week 2, week 2 is quite tough as well. Week 2, the body starts to get a little bit better. Things get a little bit easier. I must do stay for the first 2 weeks or so. You don't want to eat anything that's solid. What I mean by this is that you don't want to eat foods that are solid, such as sweet potatoes or mash or rice, stuff like this. What you do want to crave is for soups, maybe a sandwich or something that's a little bit lighter to eat, and your body's not hungry at all. The medicines make you very your appetite is really suppressed, and that's bad for your recovery because your body needs good nutrition. So I bought a protein shake. I drank that. I struggled to drink it, but I did drink it. I would say things start to look up from around about week 3. Appetite comes back, as well as you're not as constipated. I was extremely constipated for the first 2 weeks. I couldn't go to the loo. I was on almost anything that you could take to get your bowels going again, and it naturally came. Yeah, so the bowels came back naturally after about, let's say, a week and a half to 2 weeks. Week 2 is quite tough. Initially, a lot of recovery takes place then. Week 3 is where things get a little bit easier again, in terms of the bar popping as well as the pain. I would definitely say it's quite tough when it's cold outside. You definitely feel a difference between the climate changes. And like I watched a video before from someone else. They stated this is a week-by-week recovery, not a day-by-day. I most definitely do agree with that. You don't get better every day with this recovery. It's definitely not a day-by-day recovery. You do expect it week by week. Every week you feel something gets a little better, a little bit easier. From week 3, I would say that I had a little bit of relief from the pressure on the bars. They definitely weren't pushing as hard anymore. But you do feel that they are still there. Definitely notice that they are still there, but they're not pushing as hard. Week 4, I'd say it gets quite tough as well. The thing that gets quite uncomfortable is that you have split-second changes. What I mean by this is that the 1 second you can wake up great, feeling really good, and the next moment you can feel really bad. So you kind of don't know where you are in terms of the recovery as such. I would say anything up from week 3 up, you start feeling a lot better. I struggle to sleep quite a bit. I think it's the medication as well as the routine that I've gotten into in terms of hospital stay as well. I will definitely try getting into a bed from tonight and see if I can sleep continuously flat down on my back. Let me see what else I can touch base on. Week 5, I would say that there is a lot less pressure once again in the chest, but I do have a lot of aches. Now this is something that a lot of people don't touch base on. You have a lot of aches and a lot of cracks in your back. The ache and pain is from obviously your posture that has changed, and therefore your body's learning a new position. The muscles need to become longer, and they obviously need to learn how to work in different ways. So you have a lot of back pain, especially in the trapezius, the rear delts, going down low to the lower back as well. Your rear delts lock up a lot, and it's really painful. So what I took quite a light muscle relaxant that really did help me quite a lot. Another thing that helped me quite a lot was warm baths, as well as showers. In the initial first 2 to 3 weeks, I took about 2 to 3 showers per day because of the warmth. It helped really quite a lot of the back, and also makes your body quite relaxed as such. After, let's say, my 4th week, I start weaning off of the pain meds. I'm currently on nothing as such. Start all pain medication as such. Let's say from the week 3, I started running out of the most strongest stuff, which is oxycodone and all those type of things. Week 4, I was basically just touching over-the-counter things. And then week 5, obviously, you have nothing. So, doing quite good in the pain control as such. Your body just gets tired really quickly. You'll notice if you stand long phases of time, like I do in my job, I stand up to 11 hours a day sometimes in different phases, but you get tired quick. So it's quite difficult to stay on your feet the whole time if you have an active job. One thing I would really give you guys advice is have someone to support you guys. Have someone that's helping you in the house to get out of a chair. It's not just getting out of a chair. It is actually a mission to get out of a chair. You've got to really have planning and to stand up, make sure you don't hurt yourself. As well as if you have dogs, I've got 3 Dachshunds, make sure that they do not jump on you. It can hurt you quite quickly, especially if they give you a fright. Driving, I started driving my vehicle after, let's say, 2 weeks. I was back at work after 2 weeks as well. That was extremely tough. Biting through the long hours as such, especially when it gets cold, is really tough. I would keep pain meds with me at all times, just in case. And I managed to survive that couple of weeks. It's been really difficult going back to work as such, especially in a physical environment. But you learn how to bite through that. It's quite difficult, but you will get through it. Something I would definitely say focus on is your nutrition. If you don't have good nutrition, your recovery is definitely slower. And obviously protect these areas. You don't want anything to be bumped. So don't go out to big crowds of places where there's a lot of people and stuff. The risk is just not worth it. Dress warm. I could start wearing my own shirt, putting my own shirt on, putting my own jacket on from about, let's say, 4 weeks. It definitely does hurt quite a lot to put a shirt on over your head. It hurts a lot on the sternum itself. But after about 4 weeks, I would say you starting to get hold of this. After that, things get a little bit easier and things get better.